If you're sensitive, don't watch this. Welcome to the Accountability Report, where I hold people accountable because it's in my nature and I need to vent. Today's topic: Nick Reiner, a grown man who murdered his parents. And yes, that sentence alone tells you something went very, very wrong long before the crime. This didn't start that day. It started in childhood. Raise your sons, love your daughters. Everyone says it, but how many actually live by it? There are no female school shooters for a reason. Even the most abused, unhappy woman will walk through fire from others before she ever turns violent. But Nick Reiner? His hell was self-inflicted, and still he turned on others. Others like his Hollywood famous parents, Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer. Even in the worst families, daughters rarely reach this level of entitlement-fueled violence. Why? Because girls are not conditioned to get away with bad behavior. Even the most spoiled are taught to self-regulate, to think before they act, to face consequences. Sons? Often indulged, excused, pacified. This case isn't about evil. It's about bad parenting that allowed bad traits to grow unchecked. Gentle parenting sounds cute on Instagram. In real life, it fails without structure, discipline, and values. Gentle parenting is for gentle children. Ask yourself, why was he on drugs at 17? Where were the boundaries, the consequences? You don't accidentally raise a child who thinks the rules don't apply. That belief is taught. Entitlement is learned. And what's worse, that unchecked entitlement turned into a 20-year nightmare for the people who gave him everything. Imagine dealing with a son who does nothing with his life for decades. Now imagine he's also an addict. Most teens understand something very clearly. Education matters, direction matters, the future matters. Even kids from poor homes dream of using school or creativity to escape. But for Nick, there was no need to dream. Mommy and daddy had millions. Yet notice, most rich kids, even the lazy ones, are pushed into something. School, sports, even horse riding. But when you give a child total freedom, they try drugs. And sometimes they don't come back. Remember the college admissions scandal? Felicity Huffman, Lori Loughlin? Listen, those parents knew education mattered. They knew kids need something to focus on. Most elite parents will even say, my kids aren't getting an inheritance. Why? Because children need to earn their lives. But in the Reiner home, somehow that message never came through. When they finally set rules as adults, he couldn't believe it. He was shocked by consequences. Imagine that. Homelessness, because rehab wasn't nice enough. That's a spoiled brat. You can say the parents were busy. You can say they gave him the world. But listen closely. It was the people who gave him everything that he ultimately destroyed. That's not coincidence. No structure, no fear, no work ethic. Neglect isn't just about absence. It's about refusing to guide a child productively from age 5. Kids need discipline. They need structure. They need to feel consequences, not abuse, just reality. Letting a child think you can always work with me creates entitlement. Letting them think the family name guarantees success breeds laziness. Just because grandpa and dad were successful doesn't mean success should feel automatic. But the message was, relax, you're safe. There's always a cushion. And when kids know there's a soft landing, they get reckless. They make foolish choices. They treat life like plan B will always save them. After getting a GED, he planned to go to college, then decided not to, because no urgency was ever taught. Why wasn't that a non-negotiable? Why wasn't independence demanded? Nepotism and wealth without standards is just good old-fashioned parental neglect, and Nick Reiner is proof of that. His only, I repeat, only film credit came through his father for a useless movie named Being Charlie. That's not mentorship. That's not legacy. That's handing someone success they didn't earn. Even in the interviews promoting that movie, you see how entitled Nick is and how apologetic the father is. Nick did not need that movie to be seen as his work. Getting movie deals in Hollywood is hard enough. That was another thing dad and mom handed to him. And yes, Rob Reiner himself was a nepo baby. Rob Reiner's father was Carl Reiner, who had a career that spanned over 7 decades, with many awards, including 11 Primetime Emmy Awards and even a Grammy. But even nepo babies and nepo grandbabies have to work. They have to show up. They perform. There was a standard of hard work and discipline required from them. Rob Reiner knew this. But Nick's one movie credit was not that. It was another useless gift he took for granted. There is a common thread that proves consequences were missing often in Nick's life. At one point, he's laughing about destroying the family home in an interview and blaming drugs. You don't laugh about destruction of any property. Even a coffee mug in your parents' home should make you apologize, unless nothing has ever happened to you for it before. It will remain. Children are not supposed to make mistakes that harm other people. If you allow that, they will eventually harm you. And that's exactly what happened here. This was a failed adult long before this crime. Even without the drugs, Nick Reiner displayed traits of someone incapable of being a working adult, a reliable partner, a responsible father. He was coddled, not parented. Well into his late 20s, he still had access to things he didn't earn: hotel rooms, opportunities, money. Ask the obvious question: who was paying his bills up to now? Who, even in their death, will probably be paying his legal fees? The real failure? Letting a child believe there will always be a place for him without instilling values early. I am not saying beat your children. I am saying discipline them early so they know what is wrong, what is unacceptable, that you are not their friend, you are their parent. The constant disrespect shown here, it's the language of a spoiled brat who was never corrected. Even the worst villains raise working adults. They may be crooked with questionable manners and beliefs, but they are self-responsible and self-regulated adults. They don't murder their parents. Before you say, the couple had other children too, and they are not drug addicts, so Nick is the exception, I want it to be acknowledged not all badly raised children do drugs or turn to be criminals. Some are just bad husbands and bad fathers. Some are just rude adults who are mean, and you wonder, what did I do wrong for a person to be so rude to me out of nowhere? Badly raised children are the Karens and womanizers. Being badly raised with no consequences is inclusive of all antisocial behavior, including drug addiction, because even drug addiction is a choice. The fear of traumatizing your children is how you raise bad adults. Many people had awful parents, even abusive ones, and they still grew up knowing, I'm on my own. I must work to survive. I must be respectful to live well and follow some rules, otherwise they are consequences. Even Nepo babies still work and should have manners. This story didn't happen because of one bad day. This happened because accountability was never taught and the parents were not strict. And now, everyone pays. This story is nothing new, honestly. Countless elderly parents are murdered by their adult children yearly because the parents never taught their children to be responsible adults with good manners. Thank you for watching. I am your girl, Vanessa, and this is the Accountability Report. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe.